Join me as we count down 10 of the currently most popular board games, including 6 that reached the top of the chart during the month. But only one of those can remain number 1. We're going to find out which one it is as we count down this month's list. Hey there, I'm Chaz Marler from Pair of Dice Paradise, and welcome to this month's Top 10, which is based on BoardGameGeek.com's hottest games list over the past 30 days. These are the games that are generating the most traffic and discussion on that website. The higher and longer a game remains on the hottest games list, the higher it ranks on our top 10 for the month overall. And starting off this month in spot number 10 is Spirit Island by Greater Than Games. Spirit Island is a cooperative settler destruction strategy game in which players are different spirits inhabiting the land, each with their own unique elemental powers, forced to defend their island home from colonizing invaders who are spreading blight and destruction. The players must work together with their fellow spirits and the Dahan, the local islanders, to increase their power and drive the invading colonists from their island. Now, Spirit Island has appeared in our top 10 several times over the course of the last year, unlike the next game in our countdown, which makes its first appearance in spot number 9. Jumping onto the top 10, up from spot number 50 last month, is Black Rose Wars by Ludus Magnus Studio. Now, everyone in Black Rose Wars plays as a powerful mage of the Black Rose Order, willing to do whatever it takes to acquire the mighty power of the Black Rose artifact and become the new Supreme Magister. And that means that the mages are going to have to fight to fulfill the Black Rose organization's desires and gain strength in 6 different schools of magic, each one with its own strategy to defeat opponents and increase one's power. Black Rose Wars was ranked number 1 on the hotness list for the entire first week of the past month, and personally, I really thought that it had a real chance of ending up being this month's number 1 game overall. However, as the month went on, the game just didn't stay high enough on the list long enough to retain the top spot. In fact, several other games actually ended up ranking higher than Black Rose Wars for the month, such as the next game on our list in spot number 8. The game, in spot number 8, underwent a bit of an identity crisis this past month, changing its name from the Forbidden City to Gong, which means the Imperial Palace. In this game, players take on the role of powerful Chinese families trying to gain influence and power by exchanging gifts with officials. The gift cards that players offer must have a higher value than the ones they receive back, forcing them to strategically choose which actions they take each turn. And during the game, players are going to travel around China, they're going to sail down the Grand Canal, purchase precious jade, help construct the Great Wall, secure advantages through decrees, influence the game through intrigue, and ultimately receive audience with the Emperor, gaining victory. Woohoo! That's all there is to it. Dropping from spot 3 down to 7 this month is Rising Sun and all of its many expansions and Kickstarter stretch goals. Now, it's no secret that I, myself, have a personal affinity for game bits and component upgrades for games. And something that I have found interesting is that there's an entire cottage industry that's developed over the years just for creating custom box inserts to house all of those game bits and component upgrades. And these inserts can require quite a bit of engineering and ingenuity. And that's why I was really interested when I heard that the Broken Token recently released their own wooden inserts for Rising Sun. Now, the most ambitious of their line of Rising Sun inserts consists of 19 removable trays, including 8 identical clan trays that hold everything for each clan and feature miniature slots labeled for the Daimyo, Shinto, and Bushi minis. And there's also 4 large monster trays, a small monster tray, a tray for the Kami Unbound miniatures, and 1 for the 7 lucky gods, plus several more. Now, this insert itself is admittedly quite a project. Which brings me to one of my questions for this episode. Have you invested in an insert for Rising Sun? And if so, do you find that this behemoth of an insert actually helps the game's storage and setup enough that you would recommend it to others? Let me know what you think about the Rising Sun insert by either Broken Token or by any manufacturer in the comments below. Hey there! Before we get to the meat of the countdown, I just wanted to take a moment to say thank you, because videos like this are made possible by viewers just like you who have been supporting Pair of Dice Paradise's 2018 season fundraiser. And if you enjoy these videos, be sure to click the subscribe button, and then click the incredibly little fantastic bell icon thing that they give you to receive notifications when new videos or live streams happen. Oh, and be sure to click the little thumbs up icon, and then also leave a pleasant comment below. Man, watching YouTube videos is almost becoming as much work as producing them, so thank you. It's all really appreciated. But for now, let's continue on with the countdown. Inching up a spot from 7 to 6 this month is Scythe. Now, Scythe's frequent inclusion in the top 10 has possibly been helped by several well-received expansions that have been released for the game. The third and final of which, the Rise of Fenris, is scheduled to reach retailers in mid-August. This expansion includes an 8-game replayable campaign and 11 different interchangeable modules, supporting 1 to 7 players. Now, while the specifics of the episodes and modules in this expansion are being kept hush-hush in mystery by the publisher, because most of these components are in 5 secret tuck boxes and on 6 different punch boards, we do know that the expansion will include a detailed episodic guidebook, 13 plastic miniatures, 62 wooden tokens, 2 custom dice, 25 tiles, and over 100 different cardboard tokens. So check out the Rise of Fenris, coming in August for Scythe. Settling in the middle of our countdown at spot number 5 yet again this month is the abstract strategic pattern building game Azul. Now, I've talked about Azul quite a few times in our countdown so far, including the fact that it is one of the highest performing abstract games in the top 10 over the course of the past year. But on the very last day of this countdown period, a game that many may consider to be the polar opposite of Azul reached number 1 on the hotness list as well. The game Heroes of Land, Air, and Sea, which finishes the month in spot 34 overall. Now, this game is about as far away from an abstract strategy game as it gets. Heroes of Land, Air, and Sea is a 4X style board game with miniatures that tell epic tales of orcs versus humans, dwarves versus elves, all battling kingdoms, and the individuals among those kingdoms who turn the tides of battle in their favor. Now, the players control one of these classic factions, competing to expand their kingdom into new territory. Because even the greatest kingdoms begin life as small townships. And thus, players begin with only a small basic town hall, a couple of peons, and a single warrior at their disposal. And from there, they must explore the territory all around them, build up their workforce, fortify their army, and develop their kingdom, all through careful action selection, exploitation, war, and resource management. This is a massive, sprawling game that also serves as the perfect, just mirror universe complement to Azul's strategic abstraction. You know what? Climbing up 2 spots from 6 to spot number 4 this month is Arkham Horror, the card game. This is another game that's appeared on our countdown quite often, and its longevity on the countdown is due, in part, I suspect, to its many expansions in which players will uncover cultists and foul rituals, explore haunted houses filled with strange creatures, and decipher the signs of the Ancient Ones who plot to overrun our world and drive its inhabitants insane. In the interest of not being driven insane myself, I'm gonna take this opportunity to again mix things up on our list and talk about another game I haven't talked about yet. This particular game also briefly reached the top spot on the hotness list this past month, and ends the month at spot number 23 overall, Luxor. In Luxor, players are explorers who are on the hunt for priceless treasures. In fact, the player who manages to quickly get their team of adventurers to the central Luxor's tomb while salvaging as many treasures as possible will be the winner of the game. But achieving this may not be as simple as it sounds, because at the start of the game, each player gets dealt 5 cards, which they are not allowed to change the order of. Now, I got a chance to briefly preview Luxor at a recent convention, and it looked like a nice, lightweight hand management game. So, if that sounds like the kind of game that would be up your alley, or down your tomb hallway, or whatnot, keep an eye out for it, and give it a try when it's released in July. Edging its way back into our top 3 once again is the ever-present game set in the near future, Terraforming Mars. Now, as with Arkham Horror, the card game, Terraforming Mars' continued performance in the hotness list is likely due in part to the popularity of both the base game itself, plus several critically acclaimed expansions that have been released as well. But now, this sci-fi game is going digital. That's right, because Asmodee Digital is developing a version of the game for iOS, Android, and Steam for the PC. The current estimates are that the digital versions of Terraforming Mars will be available in the second quarter of 2018, which is right now. So if the digital version of this game captures players' imagination as thoroughly as its analog counterpart appears to have, it's possible that we're going to continue to see Terraforming Mars on our countdown for many, many more moons to come. You know, if you love storytelling games, and who does not, then you will be happy to know that the Seventh Continent continues to hold its spot in slot number 2 on our countdown for another month in a row. The Seventh Continent can be played as either a solo or cooperative choose-your-own-adventure type exploration board game in which players will choose a character and explore a wild new land through a variety of terrain and event cards. This is a big, deep, massive game that will take days, if not weeks, or heck, let's say months to complete. And on the topic of big, massive, meaty games, another game that briefly reached the top of the hotness list this month was On Mars by Vital Lacerda. Vital's other meaty game designs include Vinhos, Kanban, The Gallerus, and Lisboa. In On Mars, which finishes the month overall in spot number 16, players take on the role of an astronaut from a private space exploration company who wants you to develop the biggest, most advanced colony on the surface of Mars, bettering the scientific community, as well as achieving your own company's personal hidden agendas. Because On Mars was just recently announced, and it's still in the development stages, so no release date for it has yet been determined. And that's good, because this being a Vital Lacerda game, that should give just enough time for us all to come up with just the most basic strategy for this presumably hefty game. And after it lost the top spot in the hotness list for the entire first week of the month, Gloomhaven bounces back to retain the #1 spot on the top 10 for an 8th month in a row. Gloomhaven is a massive dungeon delving game, but interestingly, another one of the games that temporarily usurped the top spot on the hotness list this month was another dungeon delver that's about as opposite from Gloomhaven as you can get. And that game was D100 Dungeon. The component list for D100 Dungeon is comprised of just a pencil, a few sheets of paper, 2 die 10s, a die 6, and the game's manual. And that's it. Each quest in this game is an opportunity for players to enhance their character with better equipment and untold riches. And as players progress through the dungeon, they map their progress and make notes so they can easily return back to it, allowing the game to be played either during a dedicated allotment of time or just in one's spare time. The designer hopes that this self-published game becomes an ideal activity during lunch breaks or while traveling or other little pockets of time that players have. So, D100 Dungeon, the mirror universe opposite twin of this month's #1 game, Gloomhaven. Alright, so there you have it, your list of the 10 most popular board games for June 2018. And for more top 10 countdowns, be sure to check out this playlist, that's all full of them. And for more videos full of board game news, reviews, and commentary, well, be sure to subscribe and check out the other Pair of Dice Paradise content on this channel. Thanks! Until next time, I've been Chaz Marler. Take care. Hey now, tough guy. Climbing up 2 spots from last month to spot number 4 is this month's game called Arkham Horror. That was well done. That was professional. In fact, the player who manages to quickly get their team of adventurers to the central Luxor tomb while putting on a salve. That's soft.